Hi, and welcome to our next session here on the Fireside Chats with companies. My name is Daniel Thorsson, an analyst at ABG covering IT and technology companies. And with us today we have Proact and CEO Jonas Hasselberg. So very welcome here. And I think we start off with a short presentation or pitch on Proact, what you do, where you operate, etc. And then I will have a couple of questions for you.
Great, thank you. Thank you for having us. Proact is a tech company. We're based out of Stockholm, but we operate in 12 countries across Europe and, well, Northern Europe in particular. We help enterprise customer with what we call mission critical IT. So we build tech solutions and IT infrastructure platforms to large enterprise customers to solve their most important needs. And that could be anything around digitizing their business, doing large data analytics, automating business processes. We help customers like healthcare providers to digitize their patient records, those kinds of things. So very, very fundamental to their business, very complex in terms of IT. We deliver this through a number of product categories, including reselling of hardware and software, our own cloud services, consulting services, and technical support services. That's very briefly what we do.
Excellent, excellent. I start off with a question on the consulting market.
Sure.
That has been quite tough in the last 1.5 years for the general IT consulting firms. But how are you experiencing utilization rates, hourly rates, etc., as you are more of a value-added reseller of your products and services?
So our consulting business has been quite healthy and not impacted as hard or not at all by the downturn in general. And it's just like you said, our consulting services are very tied to the solutions and the cloud services that we sell to our customers. So it's all about designing and architecting solutions, migrating data, migrating customers, migrating applications, operating their infrastructure for them. So it's more tied to the actual digital transformation, the investment they made in technology rather than more traditional consulting. So we've been quite okay.
Yeah, I see. And then in terms of geographies, you're exposed to Northern Europe, the Nordics, UK is also a big market for you. What do you see in terms of IT investments and demand for investing in both hardware but also software solutions related to data storage?
Yeah, so it is a growing market. It has been a growing market for us since way back. We do see that the market is actually accelerating a little bit. I think it's natural. We're coming out of a couple of years of macroeconomic challenges, high interest rates, high inflation. Customers have been a little bit more careful, but we're quite optimistic. We think the market is growing a little bit quicker even. Okay. Generally, Europe is relatively even, maybe Germany being the toughest market, not because of the IT business, not specifically to Proact, of course, but it is an economy that is hit the hardest maybe here by downturn. On top of that, some of the, let's say, domestic challenges around energy crisis and so on. So of all the markets, maybe Germany is the least growing one, still growing. The rest and that we're operating quite positive as we look forward for the next couple of years.
I see. I also had a question on Germany actually, because we hear that from many companies. We saw that the German IT providers, Bechtle, Cancom, they had quite weak Q2 reports. They guided quite cautiously for the second half of the year. We saw BMW's profit warning yesterday, etc., etc. What do you think needs to happen in the German market to start growing again? Because it stands out from the other markets here in Northern Europe, at least.
It is. I think we're still not pessimistic about Germany, just to be clear. It's just not growing as fast as some of the other markets. But if you look at Germany in general, I think and obviously I'm not a German politician, so I'm not sure I know all the challenges, but they are a little bit harder hit by the Russian war, the dependency on gas, obviously nuclear power being something they discontinued very rapidly. I think they have a slightly longer time ahead than many other European countries in terms of getting back to growth. But again, now we're talking macroeconomics. I think the IT industry, and we look at our customers, still a big demand to, of course, be more efficient, use cloud technologies to be more flexible, do all those things that is driving the IT industry in general, the cybersecurity, protection. So the drivers in the market are the same in Germany as any other market. Yeah. So we're optimistic about all our markets, just a little bit less in Germany.
I see so, and I agree. I see that in other companies
Yeah,
as well,
I can imagine.
related to you. And then on the cloud part of the business, as we see it at least, there are two types of cloud revenues for you. Either you build a private cloud for the customer or a hybrid solution, which could be quite profitable, or you're reselling a public cloud space, which could be slightly less profitable, more like a hardware solution or so. How do you see those different cloud angles playing out right now? Do you see a good demand for the hybrid and private solutions, or is it mostly public cloud that companies are going to?
No, we see a good demand for our, let's call them our own cloud services. So when we're actually providing the service to our customer, there is there's definitely a situation sometimes, but not always, and it's actually not as common, where customers they want Proact to be the one-stop shop, and they want to buy their Microsoft licenses, typically Microsoft licenses, from us. It's not as common, but in those cases we do it. We serve our customers, and you're correct. The profit on licensing or pure license reselling isn't huge. We try to keep it at a minimum, but we help customers when they need help. But the majority of our revenue, the majority of our intake of new cloud services are our own services, not license resell. That's the way we want it.
I see. And you mentioned cybersecurity as well, which is a big driver in the market at the moment. No companies can't resist to secure the data and have cybersecurity solutions. Where do you see the strongest demand in terms of products or solutions, consulting, software, and in what regions do you see the strongest tailwinds at the moment?
I think market-wise, it's even across all markets, the same demand, big drive. I think we've seen a bit of a shift. We spoke about it before a little bit, you and I, Daniel, that a few years back it was a lot around protecting your data, meaning trying to prevent attacks from being successful. So that's a lot around monitoring, protection services, all sorts of technologies. Now a lot of our customers are realizing, yes, we need that, but we also need to be able to recover in case there isn't a successful attack. So what we've seen over the past few years, maybe 1 or 2 years, is a lot of investments in secure backup solutions, disaster recovery capabilities, clean room technologies where they can restore the data and verify that it's unharmed, untampered with. So we see good demand for both the protective services as well, including then the response, being able to get the attacker out of your environments, as well as then the ability to actually restore your environment. And that's, in our case, both a number of services. We have all the services, monitoring services, response services, backup services, disaster recovery services, and it can be products. So for us, it's like with any other offering, the customer can buy it in a number of different ways, as a resale business and more as a cloud service business.
I see. The cybersecurity space, again, that's very complex. It's hard to understand from the outside who are the players successful, who can actually solve your problems. What do you see? You are talking with all the suppliers. Can you mention a few of them who have good solutions out there? What are customers demanding?
It's an incredibly broad spectrum, of course, and I don't think there's one vendor who delivers everything. It's we're down to protecting network from all sorts of attacks, including denial of service attacks. You have firewall technology preventing people from coming into your networks. A lot of monitoring, which effectively is about monitoring behaviors in your environment and detect abnormal behaviors. I'll give you simple examples, because it happens to myself. When I'm out traveling and I can be in one of our, if I'm in a country in Europe where we don't have our own offices, where I typically wouldn't be, and I log into our network, it'll take a few minutes and then I get a phone call from our operations center saying, hey, we noticed you're logging in from Portugal, for instance. Are you in Portugal? Yes, I am. Great, we'll let you in. So that's another set of services. And then we spoke about recovery and backup. So it's a broad range. Some of the vendors you would recognize, Microsoft, of course, they have all sorts of virus protection and monitoring technologies. We use quite a bit with a company called Arctic Wolf. They have a lot of monitoring and what's called response services, the ability to help the customer prevent the attack or act against the attack. But there's a whole range of people playing in this area. Some of them you would know, some of them you wouldn't know.
I see. I also remember that 1.5 years back we talked about AI as a potential driver.
Yes.
Everybody talked about AI in the beginning of 2023. And I remember that your response back then was that we probably will see enterprises starting off exploring AI solutions through a public cloud.
Yes.
That's where they will store data, capture data, and big data. How has that changed up until today? It's 1.5 years later. Do you see enterprises investing in hardware and systems?
A little bit, but not significantly. And I think if you follow NVIDIA a little bit, they're obviously still very successful, of course, and they're selling a lot of their high-performance compute platforms. The vast majority of that goes into the large international cloud providers, the Microsofts, the Facebooks of the world. We do see some of NVIDIA sales into enterprise customers, but in less demand. I think one of the things we're seeing, which is quite natural and very much in alignment with what you and I spoke about, which is the really big investments is for those who do almost like, they really create those big fundamental AI platforms, what's called the large language models. Quite few companies will do that. A lot of other companies are they can actually download a model from the web. Facebook does it, OpenAI, you can buy theirs. And then they tweak it for their particular needs. A little bit less infrastructure dependent or heavy. You don't need those very most expensive and high performing computers. So we do see a lot of that going on. And then on the other hand, you have things like Microsoft's Copilot and all the equivalents. So AI technology is built into your applications, including the Office applications. Obviously, a lot of activity going on making use of those and actually getting them to be relevant for your particular business. So it's a spectrum of using AI technologies in ready-made products all the way down to investing in building your own models and platforms and crunching a lot of data. We're still in that, let's say, slightly easier phase if you look at a majority of our customers.
Yeah. So we are still yet to see the big demand on the hardware side for most of the
customers.
I think so.
It is a little bit yet to be proven, but it's realistic that it will happen. There's reasons why when you have a good AI use case and you really want to put it into production, there's reasons why you wouldn't want it to run in the public cloud. And those are primarily cost reasons. It isn't the most cost-effective way of doing it. There could be other reasons. You want your data to be stored in a safe and well-governed way. It could be another reason. So we're still optimistic.
Yeah, good. If we were to switch over to the financials a little bit of the company, in 2023 you did some cost reductions that saved some COGS and some OPEX as well, and now you have recovered to growth mode again this year, which has obviously expanded margins. So the EBITDA margin is starting to approach. We're not close to the 8% level yet, but it's starting to approach that level. How should we think about the margin journey ahead? Are you back to investment mode again on the cost side, or would you like to see a couple of stronger growth quarters before you start to hire people net again? Or how should we see the margin journey from here up to kind of 8%?
Yeah, so we're on that journey to 8%. I think we made some great strides, and that cost program we did about a year ago has definitely helped. There's some other things that we've also talked about in terms of building scalability in our business, and in particular scalability in the way we deliver our cloud services, which is great. We will definitely see, which is maybe what we made us a little bit famous, volatility because of our dependency on the systems business. It's still about half of our business, so we get those lumpy quarters. We don't need to invest a lot. We have the delivery capability we need, so we will, if we would invest, it will be particularly in sales and driving that growth. We don't have a huge investment needs in delivery capability or platform development or other types of investment. So it's more just to drive the organic growth from a sales perspective.
Is that something that you think you will do in 2024, or is it just kind of yet to be seen? We would like to see slightly stronger markets in 25, or what's kind of your plan?
No, I think we believe in that growth path. We've said that we should be able to grow at least 5% on an organic basis on average. So we're on track for that, and we'll continue to be on track for that. And then we, of course, want to continue to do acquisitions, both to accelerate some of the growth. That other 5% to get to the 10% we should should be able to do or want to do.
Yeah.
I think our growth trajectory should be stable in the way it's been in the past as well here, over the past couple of years, actually.
Yeah, I see. You mentioned M&A as well, which was a topic I had. It was a little while since you did an acquisition. Financially, you have a net cash position. You have started to buy back your own shares. Does that kind of make you a little bit more picky on the M&A side because you have the tool in the toolbox to do buybacks right now, or should we expect M&A to happen?
Yes, we definitely expect M&A to happen, and it's one thing we work very, very actively in. It is a bit stochastic, of course, because we are picky. We've always been picky with our acquisitions, not more picky because we have the tool of share buyback, but because a couple of things. A, we want to use the money wisely, of course. We integrate our companies that we acquire into our operations. We want them to be complementary to what we do in our local markets, but we also want to be able to go to our customers. We want offering and say, hey, this is Proact. We can offer you everything from public cloud to local private clouds to security services and the whole breadth of our portfolio. So in that case, we're quite picky on the companies being complementary, both business-wise, but frankly also culturally. So there's definitely been an area where we make sure that we want to be a good fit. The other is during 23, and frankly, surprisingly, first half of 24 wasn't as... We thought it was going to be a better M&A climate than I think it turned out to be, and it's not just for Proact. Still a bit difficult to meet sellers on the evaluation levels that we think are reasonable. Still a lot of sellers that are kind of stuck to their valuation pre-inflation. I think that their company is still worth slightly higher than what we may agree with. I feel that the activity is picking up, and I think I'm not the only one. We see that also when we just read the newspapers. So that's good.
Interesting. And the last few acquisitions, they have been more on the services side, consultancy businesses. Is that what we should expect ahead as well, helping the margin journey upwards? That's where you see you can cross-sell your products into their businesses, or what type of acquisitions? You mentioned products and culture, obviously. But
services heavy will be the typical company. We like consulting companies because they bring in expertise in particular area that we can productize. I think we did an acquisition here in Stockholm a few years ago called Conoa. They're great consultants on what we call cloud native application development. And then we've been able to productize into a cloud service as well. So they continue to deliver the consulting services, but we've also been able to productize it as a cloud service. So that's a great example of strategic synergies that we can get from a consulting company. They bring in the expertise, we have the operational expertise. Cloud services company is also super interesting. Typically anything that complements again our portfolio. Last but not least, there are markets, Germany obviously being very significant, UK too, probably the two biggest IT markets in Europe, where we are small player, and just buy market share would be great.
To get some size, some more even quarterly delivery as well.
Exactly so. So we're looking at services heavy company that complement us, cultural good fit in Nordics, UK. I think Germany will wait another year until those two acquisitions you mentioned have been integrated properly. Netherlands, Belgium, also interesting.
Yeah, true. And what do you think could be the potential main challenges in 2025 or so? I mean, now we're talking quite optimistically here about the future, the growth to continue. You have done your cost reductions, margin should continue as well. M&A market looks more favorable, picking up at least. What do you think is potential challenges out there in the market? Where do you hear challenges from customers? Is it like large projects still being delayed? We have seen that for some IT players, but do you see any challenges?
I don't see any significant challenges beyond the normal one. Of course, I mean, there's always competition. We all need to prove our worth to our customers. We always need to be good at what we do. All of those things, of course. So, we always need to work hard for our customers. So that will be challenge number one. I think the only thing that would keep me awake a little bit is, frankly, the threat of cyber attack. Not because we're bad at it, quite the opposite. We're very good at it. But it's always a threat, and it'll have a significant impact on any company that's affected by it, as we've seen. So it's one of those things where you can never be 100% comfortable. we benchmark our security capabilities continuously. We're at a very high level, which makes me sleep a little bit better. But if there's one of those risks you look at from the outside, which is not in our control fully,
Sure.
those will be one of those things that.
And I guess that goes for many companies in the
It
society.
goes for everyone.
Which
It's
should
not
drive
of
demand
course,
for your solutions as well.
It does. So
Potentially.
it's a double-edged sword in that regard. But
course.
yeah, it's one of those things where you don't have full
Control.
control yourself.
I see. Excellent. I think time is running out. A good discussion with Jonas, as
Thank you.
always. And interesting to hear where you are on the journey here in terms of growth and margins and M&A as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.